My name is Jennifer Lawson, and I am 31 years old. I lay crumpled at the bottom of the community college stairs in our Seattle suburb, pain searing through every bone. Through hazy vision, I caught my sister's cold smirk above me. "You deserved it," she hissed under her breath. My parents rushed past, wrapping her in their arms as she started sobbing, playing the victim. "It was an accident, wasn't it?" My father pressed her, his voice tense. I tried to speak, but the pain swallowed my words. That's when I noticed the security guard glancing at the camera overhead, already calling for backup. At the hospital, my parents loomed over my bed, faces hard. "Did you fall on your own?" my mother asked, brushing off my groans. Before I could answer, the police strode in. "We've got something you need to see," the detective said, gripping a tablet tightly. My sister froze. "Before getting to my story, I want to know what time you're listening and in which city. I'm happy to know how far my story has spread. Growing up in our upscale Seattle suburb, I always felt like the invisible one in my own family. Our modern house with its pristine yard and indoor pool looked picture perfect from the street. But inside those walls, things were far from fair. I learned young that my sister Nicole, 3 years younger at 28 now, was the star. She's got that stunning look, long wavy hair, sparkling green eyes, and a smile that wins everyone over. She mastered using it to get our parents Angela and David Lawson wrapped around her finger. The favoritism kicked in early. For my 8th birthday, my parents threw a backyard bash with all my classmates. I'd been excited for weeks about the cake with my favorite chocolate filling, but when the day came, Nicole, then 5, threw a tantrum in the kitchen because it wasn't her turn. Instead of teaching her about sharing birthdays, Mom rushed to the bakery to add Nicole's name to my cake. By party's end, Nicole had unwrapped half my gifts, insisting they were hers. When I protested, Dad took me aside. "Can't you be more sharing like your sister?" He said, disappointment clear in his tone. "She always lets you play with her toys." That moment crystallized my spot in the family pecking order, but it was just the start. In high school, when I hit the honor roll, my parents gave a quick nod. But when Nicole scraped a C in English that year, they celebrated with a fancy dinner at her favorite spot, praising her effort. The year I earned a full ride to the University of Washington for education, it barely got a mention at dinner. Months later, when Nicole picked part-time classes at the local community college, they hosted a big gathering and gifted her a brand new SUV to keep her motivated. Our family counselor, Dr. Thompson, never caught on to the imbalance. I tried pointing it out in sessions at 16, but he dismissed it as typical sibling competition. My parents agreed, and Nicole wiped away fake tears, saying she just wanted to bond with her envious older sister. Despite all that, I pushed hard in my teaching career. I worked side jobs to fund grad school and landed a role as a professor at the community college by 30. My recent promotion to department coordinator came just weeks before the stair incident. When I called to share, Mom's response was, "Good for you, honey, but have you heard Nicole's latest collab with that makeup brand? It's going viral." The push that changed everything tied back to my grandmother, Dorothy, hospitalized for a heart condition. At 84, she'd been the only one showing me real love since Grandpa died 5 years ago. She moved in with my parents, and I visited often despite the tension. That day, I got to the University of Washington Medical Center right on time. My parents were already there, sitting rigidly while she rested. They gave me curt hellos. I held her hand, and when she woke, her smile warmed me. We talked for an hour about her book club plans and my promotion. My parents kept steering to Nicole's achievements like her growing follower count and a potential sponsorship deal. Nicole showed up late, dramatic as always, with a cheap bouquet and traffic excuses. Grandma was kind but worn out. Once she dozed off, Nicole started on Grandma's antique collection. "I should get the pearl necklace," she said, checking her makeup. It suits my vibe, and Jennifer never wears stuff like that. Mom nodded along. We ought to plan ahead, she added practically. I snapped back, shocked. She's recovering, not gone, and talking about her things while she's here is wrong. Dad shot me his usual stern look. Always overreacting, Jennifer. We're just thinking ahead. The air got thick as visiting hours wrapped. I saw Nicole pocket something from Grandma's table. I noted it mentally for later. We headed out together, Dad leading to the elevators. The hall was quiet, just beeps and footsteps. Mom and Nicole whispered about the earrings and family heirlooms, making me uneasy. As we neared the elevators, Nicole turned to me. That blouse makes you look frumpy, she said loud enough for others to hear. Is it from last year's clearance? Guess the promotion didn't upgrade your style. I bit my tongue. Not the time, Nicole. I'm focused on Grandma. Mom jumped in. She's just giving advice, Jennifer. You could try harder, especially now with that job. The sting hit familiar, but I held it in. The elevator dinged, Dad holding the door. Being stuck with them felt suffocating. I'll take the stairs, I said. Need the steps. Dad shrugged. Your call. Nicole followed me to the stairwell, her tone shifting dark. You don't fool me, she said as we descended. I gripped the rail. What now? She clutched her bag. I saw you eyeing me in Grandma's room. Always judging. I stopped on a landing. Did you take something? Her eyes narrowed. None of your business. Grandma promised me those pieces ages ago. That's a lie, I shot back. She doesn't play favorites like Mom and Dad. Nicole's face twisted. Everyone does. It's not my fault you're never chosen. I turned to go down. Not arguing here. She pressed. Must suck that promotion when no one cares. Does your dean know your family tolerates you barely? I kept stepping. Then she dropped it. Grandma updated her will last month. After you helped with her appointments, you're getting the lake house, the one Dad said was mine. I spun. Would I know nothing about that? Nicole flushed. Don't lie. You've been turning her against me with your steady job and boring life. Ridiculous, I said. I've never talked inheritance with her. Her voice rose. And you'll rat me out about the shopping, won't you, always waiting to sabotage me? Though, it clicked her constant borrowing disappearing luxury items pleas for rent help. Not gambling, but compulsive shopping addiction. Nicole, your spending is your issue. See a therapist. I just want out. I turned and she shoved hard. I tumbled, hitting steps, shoulder, hip, head ribs. Memories flashed Nicole ruining my science project, accidentally forgetting my debate notes. This was no accident. I landed twisted visions, spotting Nicole smirking above until parents entered. She slipped, Nicole cried, collapsing into sobs. They comforted her, not me. The door opened, Nurse Kimberly rushing with aides. Code fall, she called, kneeling to check me. Her eyes flicked to the camera. As she stabilized, my parents stayed with Nicole, explaining to staff it was a mishap. Kimberly's look said she knew better. They moved me to a stretcher, her whispering to preserve footage. Pain waves hit as they wheeled me away. The pattern of Nicole's manipulative behavior went beyond childhood pranks. There were incidents where she caused accidents whenever she didn't get her way. Like the time she tripped and spilled hot coffee on my laptop right before a big presentation deadline, destroying my files. Or when she forgot to tell me about a family event where I was supposed to speak, making me look unreliable. My parents always brushed it off, saying she was just clumsy or forgetful. But I knew better, it was her way of keeping the spotlight. As I got older, the undermining of my achievements became more blatant. When I published my first educational paper in a journal, Dad skimmed it and said it was nice. but then spent the evening scrolling through Nicole's Instagram posts, liking everyone and commenting how proud he was of her content creation. Nicole had built a following as an influencer, posting about fashion and lifestyle, and my parents treated it like she invented the internet. They'd fund her trips for photo shoots while I paid my own way through everything. The twist that hurt most was realizing my parents had been covering up for her all along. I overheard them once discussing a school incident where Nicole had pushed a classmate during an argument, but they talked the principal out of suspending her by donating to the library fund. They did the same with her driving mishaps, paying off minor fender benders without telling me. It was their way of protecting the golden child, no matter the cost. Grandma Dorothy's caregiver, Michelle Santos, saw through it all. She'd been with Grandma for years and confided in me during visits that she'd overheard Nicole pressuring Grandma for money, playing on her sympathy with stories of needing it for career investments. Michelle noted how Nicole's visits coincided with her shopping sprees and how my parents dismissed any concerns as jealousy on my part. In recent months, Nicole's demands escalated with her shopping addiction. She'd rack up credit card bills on designer clothes and accessories, then beg Mom and Dad for bailouts, claiming it was for her brand. They'd oblige cutting into savings meant for Grandma's care. It created more tension, especially as Grandma grew frailer. Her heart condition worsened, and I helped with doctor runs, which Nicole resented. She accused me of sucking up, but it was genuine care. That built to the school visit where everything exploded. We were meeting at the community college after class to discuss Grandma's latest test results. Her doctor suggested more home help, but Nicole saw it as a chance to push for dividing assets early. The jealousy had been simmering, hints of it in her snide comments about my stable life versus her glamorous one. As we gathered that afternoon, I could feel the confrontation brewing, unaware how far she'd go. That afternoon, at the community college where I teach my parents, Angela and David Lawson, met me in my classroom to discuss Grandma Dorothy's heart condition. Her doctor had called for more in-home care, and I'd arranged to go over options after my last lecture. The room was quiet, just the hum of the projector cooling down. My parents sat stiffly at a student desk, barely acknowledging me as I packed my notes. Grandma was stable but weak, and I wanted to focus on her needs. They, of course, had other priorities. Nicole arrived nearly 2 hours late, strutting in with a new designer handbag dangling from her arm, her phone already out for a selfie. Traffic was a nightmare, she said, tossing the bag onto a chair. I caught a glimpse of the tag, another lavish purchase she couldn't afford. My stomach tightened. I'd heard from Grandma's caregiver, Michelle Santos, that Nicole had been dipping into Grandma's savings, claiming it was for emergencies. Those emergencies always seemed to match her shopping sprees. I tried to steer the conversation back to Grandma. The doctor says she needs a full-time nurse soon. We should plan her care. Mom cut in. Let's not rush. Dorothy's tough. Besides, we need to think about her assets. My jaw dropped. She's still here, Mom. Can we focus on her health? Dad gave me that look, sharp, dismissive. Don't get worked up, Jennifer. We're just being practical. Nicole smirked, scrolling her phone. I was thinking about her lake house, she said casually. It'd be perfect for my content shoots. Jennifer doesn't even like vacation homes. I froze. That's not your call, Nicole. Grandma decides what happens with her things. Her eyes flashed. Oh, please. You've been cozying up to her, haven't you? Helping with her appointments, playing the good granddaughter. The accusation stung, but I held firm. I'm helping because I care, not for some payoff. Mom chimed in. Nicole's just looking out for the family, Jennifer. You could be more supportive. The room felt smaller, the air heavy with their usual bias. Principal Samantha Hayes walked by, pausing at the door. She'd known me for years and had dealt with Nicole's antics when she was a part-time student here, once accidentally knocking over a lab display after a bad grade. She gave me a knowing nod before moving on. A few students lingered outside grading papers, their voices a faint hum. I noticed security guard Ryan patrolling the hall, his radio crackling. Nicole's tone grew sharper. "I know Grandma's will favors you now. That lake house was supposed to be mine." I shook my head. "I haven't discussed any will with her." She stepped closer. "Liar. You're always scheming to look better than me." Dad interrupted. "Enough, both of you. Let's go. We'll talk later." We gathered our things, the tension thick. As we headed toward the elevators, I caught Nicole slipping a small jewelry box from Grandma's purse left on my desk from an earlier visit. I didn't call her out, but my blood boiled. The hallway was quiet, just the echo of our steps on the polished floor. Mom and Nicole whispered about Grandma's pearl earrings, their voices low but clear enough to hear family tradition and Nicole's style. I couldn't take it. "Can you stop dividing her things?" I said. Nicole rolled her eyes. Always so dramatic. The elevator dinged, but the thought of being trapped with them was too much. "I'll take the stairs," I said, turning toward the stairwell. Dad shrugged. "Do what you want." Nicole followed, her heels clicking. The stairwell was empty, fluorescent lights harsh. "You're not as innocent as you act," she snapped as we descended. I gripped the rail. "What's that supposed to mean?" She clutched her bag tighter. "I saw you watching me take that box, always sticking your nose in." I stopped on the landing. "You stole from Grandma. That's low even for you." Her face hardened. "She promised it to me years ago. You're just jealous because she loves me more." "That's not true," I said, voice steady. "Grandma doesn't pick favorites like Mom and Dad." Nicole's laugh was bitter. "Everyone picks me Jennifer, except you with your perfect job and boring life." I turned to keep going. "I'm done with this." She followed close. "Must be tough getting that promotion when no one cares. Does your principal know your family barely tolerates you?" I ignored her, focusing on the steps. Then she hissed, "Grandma changed her will after you played nurse. The lake house is yours now, isn't it?" I spun on the next landing. "I don't know anything about her will, Nicole." Her face was red, furious. "Don't play dumb. You've turned her against me and now you'll snitch about my shopping." It hit me, her endless purchases, the loans from Mom and Dad, the excuses. She was drowning in debt from her addiction to luxury brands. "Your spending's your problem," I said. "Get help. I'm leaving." As I turned, her hand slammed into my back, a sharp, deliberate push. I pitched forward, steps blurring beneath me. My shoulder hit concrete, then my hip, my head, my ribs. Each impact sent pain ripping through me. I cried out, the sound echoing. Flashes hit Nicole accidentally breaking my violin before a recital misplacing my scholarship application. This was no mistake. I landed sprawled on the lower landing, vision swimming. Nicole stood above that same smirk until Mom and Dad burst through the door. She slipped, Nicole wailed, collapsing into their arms. They rushed to her, not me, Mom stroking her hair. "It's okay, honey," Dad said. "You tried to help, right?" I tried to speak, but only a groan came out. The stairwell door flew open again. Nurse Kimberly rushed in with 2 aides shouting, "Code fall!" She knelt beside me, checking my pulse, her eyes flicking to the camera in the corner. Security guard Ryan appeared, radioing for help. "We need to secure the footage," Kimberly whispered to him, her voice firm. They moved me to a stretcher, pain flaring with every jolt. Dr. Heather Ellis met us at the University of Washington Medical Center, her calm presence grounding as she ordered scans, CT x-rays for my ribs and wrist. My parents stayed with Nicole, still sobbing theatrically. She was rushing, Dad told a staff member. Nicole couldn't catch her in time. Kimberly's jaw tightened, but she focused on me. "Stay still, Jennifer," she said. "We're taking care of you." She nodded to Ryan, who confirmed the footage was being pulled. As they wheeled me to imaging, I overheard a student who'd been in the hall. "I saw them arguing," she told Ryan. Principal Samantha Hayes joined, adding Nicole's had incidents here before. The pieces were falling into place. The camera had caught it all, and my parents' denial wouldn't hold. The truth was about to unravel everything. The hospital lights buzzed above me, but I barely noticed. Every breath stabbed my ribs, every twitch pulled at the brace on my wrist. Dr. Ellis's voice was calm as she listed my injuries, but all I heard was Kimberly the nurse whispering the footage from the stairs. "Detective Kane showed up the next morning." "Jennifer," she said. Flipping through her notes, the camera caught everything. It wasn't an accident. Relief rushed in, then dread. If the footage was that clear, my parents were already spinning their version. By day 2, they arrived. Lily's in Mom's hands, a forced smile on Dad's face, Nicole trailing with red eyes that looked rehearsed. "It was a misunderstanding," Mom said smoothly. "Nicole would never hurt you." But I held my ground. She pushed me, and the camera proves it. The air froze. Dad's voice dropped. "Be careful, Jennifer. Don't ruin your sister's reputation." They didn't know Detective Kane had more witnesses. Nicole's ex-boyfriend with threatening texts, even photos of vandalism my parents had quietly paid off. Piece by piece, the perfect image of their golden daughter was cracking. Nicole fought back online. Her Instagram post painted her the victim, my parents backing her in the comments. But messages from colleagues poured in. "We know the truth. We saw it." The court of public opinion was starting to shift. By day 3, the mask ripped wider. Kane played me a voice recording Nicole's voice, venomous ranting about teaching me a lesson. My stomach turned. That same afternoon, Dad slid papers across my tray. "Sign this. Say it was an accident, or you're out of this family." Nicole's smile behind him said it all. I pushed the papers back. "No, not this time." Her voice followed me as they left, low and cold. "You'll regret this. No one picks you over me." But outside my door, witnesses' recordings and bank statements were waiting to dismantle every lie they'd built. And soon the world would see them for who they really were. The downtown Seattle courtroom was smaller than I expected, dark wood panels, stiff chairs, and a silence that pressed on my chest. I sat beside Detective Megan Kane and the District Attorney Karen Walsh, whose sharp eyes missed nothing. Across the aisle, Nicole sat with my parents Angela and David Lawson, guarded by their high-priced attorney John Cooper. Aunt Amber sat behind me, steady as a rock. A few reporters filled the gallery alongside Principal Hayes and Michelle Santos, Grandma Dorothy's caregiver. Judge Nicholas Peterson, no nonsense in his 60s, called the session to order. The prosecution wasted no time. Security footage lit up the screen, me descending the college stairs, Nicole right behind. My gestures turning, arguing, walking away, clear, then the shove. I tumbled down concrete steps while Nicole's smirk flickered before melting into fake panic. Gasps rippled through the room. Mom gripped Dad's arm, pale. Nicole stared at the floor. "Your Honor," Cooper began smoothly. This was a heated moment between sisters. A reckless gesture, not malice. His words echoed years of excuses. Judge Peterson's frown said otherwise. Then came the witnesses. Principal Hayes testified first, calm but firm. "Jennifer is a respected professor. Nicole had a history of disruption, breaking lab equipment, lashing out after poor grades. I saw her temper escalate that very day." Next, Michelle Santos described how Nicole manipulated Grandma Dorothy, siphoning thousands for medical needs while blowing it on luxury shopping. A video played Grandma frail in her hospital bed whispering, "Nicole's been after my savings." I changed my will to protect Jennifer. She's the only one who truly cares." The courtroom froze. Then Joshua, Nicole's ex. He produced threatening texts, a voicemail. "Jennifer's always in my way. I'll teach her a lesson." A chill ran through the room. By the time Nicole took the stand, her influencer confidence had cracked. She dabbed her eyes. "I was stressed about Grandma. I never meant to hurt Jennifer. I love her." The DA pressed harder. The texts, the bank withdrawals, the voicemail. Nicole snapped, mask gone. "Fine, I was jealous. Jennifer always gets everything Grandma's love, the will, her perfect life. I wanted my share." The gallery erupted in whispers. The prosecution wasn't done. They flashed screenshots of Nicole's Instagram posts painting me as jealous while her fans cheered her on. But mid-hearing, a reporter whispered Nicole's biggest sponsor had just dropped her. The viral shove video was everywhere. Nicole's face crumpled, her first real consequence. Judge Peterson leaned forward. "Miss Lawson, the evidence shows a pattern of abuse fueled by family enablement. This was no accident. Dad stood desperate. Your Honor, this is a family matter. Nicole will get counseling. We'd prefer privacy." The judge's gaze was ice. "Mr. Lawson, enabling your daughter is precisely the problem. Justice is not optional." The ruling came like a gavel strike, probable cause for second-degree assault. Nicole Lawson, 1-year community service mandatory therapy, no contact with Jennifer. Bail is set at $50,000. As the bailiff led Nicole away, she shot me a look of pure hatred. My parents didn't meet my eyes. Aunt Amber touched my shoulder. The facade of our family was gone. Nicole's career was collapsing. Grandma's will loomed and my phone buzzed with messages of support. The truth had finally broken through at a cost I was only beginning to measure. Discharge day forced a choice. My Seattle walk-up was impossible with cracked ribs, a braced wrist, and headaches that made stairs a nightmare. My parents offered Bellevue, but only if I dropped charges against Nicole. I refused. Aunt Amber didn't hesitate. "You're staying with me, Jen." No arguments. Her California bungalow became my haven. No stairs, no conditions, just warmth. Physical therapy was brutal, each stretch a reminder of the fall, but I pushed through. Colleagues rallied, arranging remote classes until I healed. Principal Hayes checked in weekly, making sure my promotion to department coordinator stayed secure. My body mended, but the deeper wounds, decades of being second to Nicole, needed therapy. For the first time, I admitted how much of my life I'd wasted chasing my parents' approval. Meanwhile, Nicole's empire collapsed. The shove footage went viral. Sponsors dropped her and hashtags branded her for what she was. Within weeks, she fled to Chicago, her follower count sinking as fast as her reputation. The restraining order kept her away, but I didn't need it. That smirk on the stairs was burned into me. I'd never let her near my life again. My parents didn't fare better. Bellevue's glittering circle turned cold whispers at Gallus, calling them enablers. Their reputation was shredded. They sent one stiff email about family unity. I never answered. Their choice was made. So was mine. Grandma Dorothy held on for 3 months after the trial. When she passed, Aunt Amber handed me a book she'd left. Inside was a letter in her shaky script. "Jennifer, I saw how they treated you. I changed my will to give you everything, the lake house, the savings, because you loved me without strings. You deserve a fresh start." Nicole and my parents were cut out almost entirely. It wasn't just money. It was the validation I'd spent a lifetime waiting for. With Aunt Amber's help, I built a new life in California, a coastal house, a fresh department role at a local college, real friendships that had nothing to do with my sister's shadow. Grandma's letter sits on my nightstand, a reminder of why I chose myself. Here's what I've learned sometimes. You have to cut off toxic blood ties to save yourself. Boundaries aren't betrayal, they're survival. Approval doesn't define worth. If you're struggling with a family that dismisses you, know this: you're not alone. and you're worth more than their permission to exist.